As the Lagina brothers and their team continue their quest on Oak Island, it seems that they are finally on the site of the hidden treasure. Could this finally be the answer to all unanswered questions? Let's hope it is the secret spot. Keep watching because we are about to find out what the Lagina brothers finally found on the most intriguing island in Canada. Rick and Marty Lagina concentrate their attention on the Money Pit region in order to find out more about their treasure hunt. In order to reach a mysterious tunnel that is located at a depth of 95 feet, Duma Contracting Limited extends the garden shaft to a height of 90 feet and uses a coring drill. There are large metal traces underground which suggest that this tunnel, which is thought to go to the baby blob, has promising potential. In the tunnel, Marty Lagina is expressing his excitement over the possibility of discovering a wooden structure underneath the tunnel. This is a hint at a breakthrough in the process of uncovering Oak Island's mysteries. In spite of the difficulties that they encountered initially, the group intends to extend the garden shaft so that it intersects the tunnel and reveals its secrets. By highlighting the team's commitment to outlining the tunnel, Rick Lagina expresses his excitement at the prospect of discovering the tunnel's historical value. Laird Niven expresses his excitement along with his recognition of the fact that their objectives are about to be accomplished. The operation is resumed, and gratitude is expressed to the recipient. The garden shaft is going to be deepened, which is the new focus. By utilizing the garden shaft, the group is able to discover a means by which they may access the tunnel. While Terry Matheson and Charles Barkhouse were keeping an eye on borehole H8, which was at the center of the team's ongoing theories over the chapel vault, there is a lot of enthusiasm for the treasure search because the borehole has produced parchment, leather bookbinding, and an object that is marked with the number 6. The process is propelled forward by Marty Lagina's zeal, with the expectation of discovering other mysteries. It was previously believed that the treasure box was made of wood, but it turns out that it is actually a piece of wood. The extension of H8 shows a massive object that is 170 feet in height, which heightens suspense regarding its nature. On Oak Island, the group faces obstacles as they search for the treasure that they have been searching for. Despite the initial exhilaration, the quest to approach the possible treasure chest is met with hurdles. This is because the H8 case accidentally releases earthen spoils, which pushes the chest even further into the depths of Oak Island. In the course of revisiting an earlier excavation, Terry Matheson makes the hypothesis that the vault may have been broken into during a prior excavation. The results of recent water tests and scans provide additional indication that the region may contain potential riches. With the help of this crew, they want to locate the vault so that they can conduct a more in-depth excavation. The movement of materials from the H8 case is something that Rick Lagina takes into consideration, and it suggests that the chapel vault might be located nearby. The crew refuses to give up on their investigation and remains steadfast in their determination to solve the mystery. The Money Pit region, which is located in the southeast portion of the wetland, is the site of ongoing excavations. With full faith in the enduring character of great discoveries, Gary Drayton rejoices in their accomplishments. The group, which is made up of Gary Drayton, Jack Begley, and Billy Gerhardt, begins an extensive excavation in the bog that is located close to the ancient stone path. The significance of the stone road is emphasized by Jack Begley, who suggests that it was a place of employment in the past. Because they are looking for significant relics, the crew is concentrating on the deepest area of the marsh. They are keeping a sharp lookout for hints in the hopes of ultimately solving the riddles surrounding Oak Island. During the time that the crew is concentrating on a key find, the stone road in Oak Island swamp, Gary Drayton gladly takes advantage of the opportunity. It is possible that it is a ship's wharf. In addition to being associated with the Knights Templar, the road, which is similar to one that can be seen in Portugal, provides hints about the dumping of freight on Oak Island. Alex Lagina, who is in charge of the crew, is awestruck by the historical significance of the ancient edifice. While Gary Drayton is beginning the dig, the team is looking for clues regarding the origin of the stone road, as well as prospective items that could be valuable. Gary Drayton, who is not deterred by the smell of the swamp, starts making jokes about the smell of treasure. Within the context of the treasure myth, Rick Lagina highlights the significance of the bog's corner. In spite of the difficulties presented by the swamp, The group continues their exploration of the area with a dogged resolve, realizing the swamp's historical significance. Gary Drayton, in his animated style, communicates joy over a finding, highlighting the determination to unearth potential treasure along the way. Billy Gerhardt draws attention to a peculiar boulder that is located next to the stone road, indicating that it was placed there on purpose. The group is looking forward to discovering the prize. It is really exciting for Gary Drayton to discover the wealth. Taking into consideration the boulder's odd placement and the probability that it was placed on purpose, the team, which is led by Rick Lagina, speculates about the importance of the boulder. It is seen by Billy Gerhardt that there is a series of rocks that resemble stone stairs that lead up to the boulder, given the boulder's proximity to both the stone road and the money pit. Jack Begley makes certain assumptions about the activities that take place around it, and Billy underlines the boundless opportunities that are available in the area. Rick Lagina insists that the team keep digging because he is fascinated by the line of stones and the enormous boulder that they have discovered. Taking into consideration the boulder's odd positioning, the team, which is led by Rick Lagina, contemplates the importance of the rock. It is really exciting for Gary Drayton to discover the wealth. Given the area's proximity to both the stone road and the money pit, the group, which is led by Rick Lagina, is considering the boundless prospects that are available in the region. The idea of purposeful placement is proposed by Rick Lagina. He underlines the importance of conducting a more in-depth investigation, stating that it is a useful instrument for conducting additional research. The ever-observant Gary Drayton raises concerns about the depth of the discovery, underlining the significance of the discovery at 2 feet. It is of notice to him that the board has a distinct thickness and form. In addition to highlighting the importance of doing a more in-depth investigation, he suggests that it could be ship decking because to the quality of the material. In spite of the fact that the board is quite large, Rick Lagina draws attention to the fact that there was no metal detection during the finding. A confirmation of the absence of fasteners is provided by Gary Drayton, who also emphasizes the significant depth of the board. During the course of the conversation, the possible connection to ship planking is investigated and previous findings in the region are brought up. Rick Lagina considers the discovery to be a chance for additional knowledge and suggests doing a more in-depth investigation. When Marty Lagina thinks about the mystery that has been going on in the swamp, he expresses how the team has been consistently finding meaningful objects that do not have any obvious function. It is his hope that answers will be found, and he emphasizes the compelling element of the mystery surrounding the marsh. By speculating on the possibility of metals surviving in the marsh, Gary Drayton piques the intrigue of potential future discoveries. In order to proceed with the exploration, Rick Lagina gives the team instructions. During the afternoon, Jack Begley saw that there were substantial issues with the discovery of metal in the Money Pit region, which is located on Lot 5. At this moment, the group is working to locate the metal that has gone missing. In the time since his previous visit, the team, as well as the research team of the team, had made progress. An archaeology team is digging a mystery stone foundation that was discovered earlier in the year beneath a circular depression. He joins the crew doing the excavation. A question concerning the continuing work is excitedly asked by Jack. A stone feature that contradicts early beliefs is discussed by archaeologist Jamie Cuba, who offers his thoughts and reveals the growing understanding of the stone feature. An occupational location is suggested by the scale, which then raises some intriguing considerations about the scale's function. A number of important artifacts have been discovered during the course of the past year. The initial plan of one that was 161 feet long is indicative of several occupancies that occurred during different ages. An example of a lead barter token from the 14th century, Venetian glass beads from the 1500s to the 1650s, and metal tools associated with Sir William Phipps are among the archaeological finds. Jamie Cuba provides an overview of the day's agenda, highlighting the need of having a comprehensive definition of the foundation's edge. The excitement of uncovering riddles is brought to light by Jack's expression of enthusiasm for additional discoveries. Jeff is conducting a search for possible clues that could link the feature to the wider mystery of Oak Island as the archaeologists remove earth during the excavation. Jack considers a number of points in time that are included in the findings, which indicate an early presence on Lot 5. Brick, ceramic, and glass discoveries add a layer of mystery to the investigation, which is propelling the search for an explanation of the relationship to the Money Pit tale. As quickly as possible, Jamie Cuba and the crew attempt to uncover additional information. Jack extends an invitation to the team to participate in the finding and reassures them that they are up to speed. In order to discover the key to the treasure, Jack and the rest of the crew collaborate. It is becoming increasingly interesting to observe the scenario. According to Jamie Cuba, the dirt is noticeably compact, which indicates the presence of mortar. It is because of the peculiar discovery that resembles concrete that she decides to summon the crew over. Another surprise is revealed by archaeologist Fiona Steele, which adds to the mystery surrounding the situation. Jack is excited and anxious to hear the team's analysis, and he expresses his enthusiasm. The archaeologist Laird Niven joins the crew at a mystery stone foundation on the western side of Oak Island, close to the shoreline of Lot 5. He is there in response to the news that a potentially significant find has been recently discovered. Through the use of ash, crushed shale, and a peculiar sound, Fiona Steele portrays the experience of hitting a substance that piqued her curiosity. When Jamie Cuba examines the material, which is grayish in color, he compares it to crude mortar or cement. It is similar to something that was discovered in the money pit material in the past, according to Jack Begley. A similar substance was found in 2019 next to H8. The crew has a history of detecting various forms of concrete and caissons across the money pit area. This is a reference to a substance that was discovered in 2019. During the course of the conversation, Laird Niven shows a wish to confer with Emma and advises that the new sample be compared to the money pit sample in order to determine their origin. For the purpose of comparison, Jamie Cuba is willing to give a sample. Laird places an emphasis on the difficulties associated with comprehending the intricate characteristic, underlining the significance of not only obtaining answers, but also obtaining a soil sample for the purpose of comparison and locating a solution to the issue. In the event that the samples coincide, Laird expresses his eagerness to learn about forthcoming findings. Getting ready for the activities that will take place the next morning, Jack Begley is eager to go back to sifting. Within a different region of Oak Island, Marty Lagina, Alex, and the team concentrate their efforts on Orehall H8 with the objective of discovering evidence of the chapel vault that is located below 180 feet. In the 8th chapter, Terry Matheson and Marty talk about the previous difficulty, highlighting the importance of going further into the topic. As the team descends to a depth of 211 feet, they make preparations for the retrieval of material that may disclose significant discoveries. The layers of silt, clay, and falling items are identified by Terry, who also draws attention to a piece of wood that is located just above bedrock. During the process of preparing to wash down the newly discovered item, Alex Lagina makes a discovery that holds great potential, and the crew is excitedly anticipating the unveiling of the mystery. A chunk of solid metal is pointed out by Terry Matheson, which causes Marty Lagina to become increasingly excited. The possibility that it is a piece of the treasure vault, probably a portion from the plug that broke off during the excavation, is something that Terry suggests. The dissolution of the plug is something that Marty speculates about, and he imagines it breaking off to all sides. Terry provides additional information regarding the plug's initial dimensions, indicating that a sizable part may very well still be in the vicinity. One of the most important questions that the narrator poses is whether or not the team is getting close to the famous chest, if it is a component of the plug or remains from the Haxon excavation that took place in 2017. When Rick Lagina joins the conversation, he inquires about the depth and acknowledges the potential that the plug is a component of the excavation procedure. It is possible that the treasure vault has moved, as explained by Terry Matheson, who is the director of the team. Taking into consideration the possibility that the material has fallen farther, Rick suggests shifting the rig to investigate a different spot. Marty is in agreement, and he emphasizes the importance of continuing to practice in order to identify the orientation of the vault. The team is still entirely dedicated to solving the mystery, and they are aware that additional investigation is absolutely necessary. Marty, who is thinking about the following steps, expresses the necessity of determining the position for the next excavation hole, and he gives the team the instruction to investigate the next excavation hole. As a result of his agreement, Rick shows his gratitude. At a later time, Rick and Alex Lagina, together with Scott Barlow, come face-to-face with Roger Fortin in the Dumas trailer located in the Money Pit region. A report on the carbon dating of a wood sample that was taken a week ago from the putative treasure tunnel that is located below the garden shaft is due to be delivered to them shortly. Alex Lagina makes a phone call to Craig Tester in order to guarantee that information is communicated directly. Rick Lagina expresses his gratitude for the dedication given by the Dumas team, pointing out that they have a real interest in investing in the process. Roger Fortin emphasizes the need of conducting long-term research and expresses a desire to reveal the history of the location. Rick emphasizes the significance of sharing results with members of the team who are dedicated to the project, anticipating the outcomes to be informative. In the course of the call, Alex communicates the team's eagerness to get the results of the carbon dating of the wood found in the garden shaft. An estimated time period ranging from 1631 to 1684 is disclosed by Craig. A moment of expectancy is shared between Rick and Jeff as they both get captivated by the revelation. The findings provide an exciting peek into the historical time frame that is related with the wood sample, which helps to fuel the ongoing search for answers on Oak Island. A strong response from the team is prompted by the revelation that the wood dates back to the years 1631 to 1684, which was made by Craig Tester. Jeff is thinking about the repercussions that this disclosure could have. While the team is processing the information that was provided by the carbon dating, this possibly historic moment is taking place. In his presentation, Craig provides a comprehensive breakdown of percentages, highlighting a substantial range of data from carbon dating, carbon-based goodnight, and sear-mastustered carbon dating. Craig makes a declaration of vacuum dato, drawing attention to a significant range from match 1735 to 1803 and a smaller percentage from 1529 to 1556. This brings the team's attention to the relevant information. After Roger Fortin has acknowledged the gravity of the matter, the team takes some time to consider the ramifications of the carbon dating result. The narrator underlines the significance of the carbon dating on a wood sample taken from the possible treasure tunnel, which indicates that the building, which is 7 feet tall, could be approximately 400 years old. Craig Tester makes a variety of insightful observations and hypotheses that the structure may have existed before to the initial searchers, suggesting that it may have been an original design. The connection to the old money pit, in particular the Office of Chamber, is something that Alex Lagina takes into consideration. As of this year, this is the second wood sample that has been dated to the 1600s from the enigmatic tunnel. This means that it was discovered more than a century before the initial money pit was discovered. Marty Lagina highlights the significance of the tunnel, implying that it was most likely constructed a significant amount of time before any investigation was conducted. In the context of a researcher activity, Rick Lagina considers it to be a step closer to the solution, particularly in light of the fact that the tunnel is aligned with high metal values. In order to get to the bottom of the mystery surrounding Oak Island, the crew plans to dig deeper down the garden pit and conduct additional exploration. During his discussion of the subsequent significant step, Roger Fortin emphasizes the importance of exposing and investigating the structure in order to find solutions. In response to the findings, Scott Barlow encourages the team to work more quickly in order to gain additional insights. After congratulating the team on their win, Craig Tester gives the order for them to continue digging. The expression of gratitude is given by Rick Lagina, who then permits them to proceed. On the following day, officials from Dumas's contracting company continue to deepen the garden shaft with the intention of breaking through the tunnel at a depth of approximately 95 feet. A collaboration between Billy Gerhardt, Jack Begley, and Gary Drayton takes place in the southeast marsh region close to the stone road that may be of ancient origin. Gary Drayton examines the plan for the day that involves the swamp, and Billy Gerhardt describes the technique that will be utilized to explore the remaining portion of the tunnel. The technique that will be utilized to explore the remaining portion of the tunnel is explained by Gary Drayton. The technique that will be utilized to explore the remaining portion of the tunnel is explained by Gary Drayton. Billy, Gary, and Jack are the members of the team, and they are quite thrilled about the possibility of validating a discovery that was made 2 days ago. The discovery was a stone walkway that was created by humans and led to a giant rock. They are getting ready to learn more about this fascinating discovery. Jack Begley makes a lighthearted conversation with Gary about the thrills and adventures that they are experiencing on their present exploration. The hope of making fortunate discoveries is one that Gary Drayton shares. Rick Lagina ponders the purpose of various structures in the swamp. These structures could be tied to work in sites such as the Money Hole, or they could be a component of depositional work in the bog. Rick Lagina ponders the purpose of certain structures in the swamp. The discovery that Gary Drayton discovers is really fascinating. It is timber planking that has a tongue and groove effect, which indicates that it was constructed on purpose. Jack Begley is in agreement, and he speculates that it could be the remains of a ship. Due to the possibility that it was quite old, they decided to keep it away for future investigation. Gary Drayton, in his contemplation of the finding of decking in the swamp, makes a passing reference to the potential of a mystery ship that has been concealed. As they proceed with their exploration, Billy Gerhardt discovers rocks in the bucket, which sparks conversations about the terrain and the possibility of the presence of a ramp or other significant structure. Within the context of their study of the swamp, Jack Begley and Billy Gerhardt are eagerly speculating about what lies ahead. The swamp is explored by Rick Lagina, Jack Begley, and Billy Gerhardt, who are all attracted by Billy's notion that there is a hidden structure deep within the swamp. Billy draws attention to the arrangement of pebbles that leads to a massive boulder that is located beneath the surface of the swamp. While the team is doing their investigation into the possible stone ramp in the southeast corner of the swamp, Billy draws attention to the fact that there are rocks hidden beneath the mud. Jack makes a comment about the size of the boulder, evaluating it in relation to rocks in Nolan's Cross, which Fred Nolan discovered in 1981. Rick takes note of the conical shape of the boulder and contemplates the possibility that it is connected to Nolan's Cross. The narrator provides an explanation of Nolan's Cross, including its symmetrical structure and the various theories that claim it could be a treasure map or a symbol. In order to obtain additional information, Rick intends to dig on both sides of the boulder. A number of questions are raised by the narrator regarding the possible connections between the boulder, the stone ramp, Nolan's Cross, and the high trace metal evidence found in the money hole. The team is speculating on whether or not these characteristics could reveal the location of assets that have been buried. A definitive connection between the bog's constructions and the enigma is something that Rick is looking for, and he is hoping that the ramp and stone road excavation may provide items that would shed light on the situation. He draws parallels between the significance of Nolan's Cross boulder and the larger size of the landmark, as well as its strategic location at the interface between the muck and the water. The significance of the discovery is acknowledged by Gary Drayton, who also emphasizes the importance of cleaning and analyzing the feature in order to uncover its hidden mysteries. The significance of the day's considerable excavating is brought to light by Billy Gerhardt, who affirms the structure's one-of-a-kind nature. The discovery of artifacts connected to the ramp is something that Rick Lagina considers to be a potential aha moment in terms of comprehension. In the hope of gaining additional information, he encourages the team to continue their excavation efforts. Subsequently, Billy Gerhardt extends an invitation to Jack to participate in a conversation, and the scenario then moves to the interpretative center. In order to obtain an update on the concrete-like substance that is present in the stone foundation of Lot 5, Rick, Alex Lagina, Jack, and Scott Barlow meet with archaeologist Laird Niven and archaeometallurgist Emma Colligan from the archaeological community. In their conversation, Rick and Jack talk about the concept of the building as well as the significance of the structure in the future. Jamie has obtained a soil sample that is believed to be mortar for the purpose of comparing it with the mortar from Money Pit. Laird Niven provides this sample. In order to examine it, Emma used an X-ray diffraction instrument, which reveals that it does not correspond to mortar, but rather aligns with a Money Pit sample that is 104 feet away. When asked about specific boreholes in the Money Pit, Scott Barlow expresses his amazement. Emma recognizes C28, C18, and 5, as well as the garden shaft, all of which are connected to a tunnel that is located underneath the garden shaft. The soil samples, taken close to the garden shaft, are consistent with the soil from the Money Pit. Laird Niven places an emphasis on its non-natural origin, which suggests that it was placed as a deliberate choice. Emma Colligan's study identifies it as being consistent with Money Pit samples, and Alex Lagina comes to the conclusion that it must have been replaced. Laird Niven is taken aback by the revelation that XRD is made on the connection between Lot 5 and Money Pit. The intriguing possibility is acknowledged by Scott Barlow, and Alex Lagina gives some thought to the possibility of physically carrying the same dirt from one area to another. It is possible that the discovery of Lot 5 will disclose a connection to earlier excavations or treasure deposits, as Jack Begley points out. The difficulty in locating evidence of individuals living on the island when the work was being done is something that Alex Lagina mentions. For example, Scott Barlow highlights recent reports on wood samples from the tunnel that date back to the 1600s, which may be consistent with the EFIP's theory. Alex Lagina makes a connection between the dates and William Phipps, offering the possibility that Phipps, an English naval captain, may have concealed valuables related to the conception on Oak Island. In this section, the narrator delves into the history of Phipps, including his recovery from conception and his return to Nova Scotia with less bounty. Alex Lagina takes into consideration the possibility that Lot 5 is connected to the money pit, which is an important discovery that has to be confirmed further. As the narrator mulls on Alex Lagina's hypothesis regarding the matching of soil samples, he alludes to the fact that EFIPs are trying to conceal conception discoveries. The intriguing relationship is acknowledged by Rick Lagina, who also considers the possibility of correlating Lot 5 with materials from the conception laboratory. If they uncover the truths about Oak Island and solve the mystery that has been going on for 229 years, or if the next discovery brings a terrible curse, what will happen? Earlier, during the course of their exploration of a stone road that could be as old as 500 years, the team comes upon a big chain and hook that were crafted by hand and date back to the 16th century. This device is thought to have been utilized in the marsh region in order to unload cargo from a ship onto Oak Island, according to researchers. Additionally, they discover a barrel stave that may be connected to the wooden cargo barrels that were discovered 3 years ago. This provides additional evidence in support of the hypothesis that this location may have served as a port for ships to unload their cargo, in order to unearth additional clues that might assist them in solving the mystery surrounding the treasure that is located on Oak Island. The crew plans to resume their digging efforts. Within the marsh, the group finds what appears to be a road, but is actually made out of big stones. The three individuals, Marty, Gary, and Billy, are of the opinion that this might be the end of the road or a retaining wall instead. A number of fascinating discoveries, including objects made of wood, are discovered by them. The group is taking into consideration the potential that these items could have some sort of connection to the development of the stone road in its early stages. Gary is thrilled by the discovery, and he advises that specialists be brought in to examine the results of the investigation. In the past, Marty had a negative attitude toward the relevance of the swamp. Nevertheless, he now believes that there is the possibility of making big discoveries. Additionally, the team intends to conduct additional research in the region with Rick and Craig. Earlier this season, an elusive second offset chamber that lies adjacent to the mysterious garden shaft was discovered by the crew earlier this season, which constitutes a remarkable discovery. During the course of the team's unrelenting research of the Aladdin's cave vacuum, which was strategically located around 30 feet southwest of the garden shaft within the mysterious money pit realm, this information came to light. Despite the fact that a considerable portion of this week's adventure was devoted to evaluating and repairing the aftermath of a fierce storm that pounded Nova Scotia, there was a bright spot that rose from the gloom. The team struggled with feelings of hopelessness as the garden shaft became inundated in water that was 30 feet deep. The Dumas Mining Company and the Oak Island crew were unable to determine the cause of this flooding. There was a lot of speculation going on, in which it was suggested that the storm might have broken through an abandoned flood tunnel. Despite the fact that finding a flood tunnel could be a setback, it might paradoxically indicate that you are getting closer to a discovery that is really important. When it comes to solving the mystery of Oak Island, the submerged secret room that is located next to the garden shaft becomes an essential component. During the time that the Dumas team was struggling to deal with the unrelenting input of 700 gallons of water per hour, their attention was particularly focused on locating the source of the water and coming up with methods to stop the flow. What at first appeared to be a catastrophe turned out to be a fortunate turn of events, which was a surprising turn of events. A chamber that was offset was discovered by the Dumas team while they were doing exploratory drilling in order to locate the site of entrance for the water. The photograph, which was taken using Roger Fortin's mobile phone, showed a small chamber that was weighed down by timbers and was situated at a depth of 65 feet. It was Fortin who brought attention to the oddity of the discovery, highlighting the fact that this hollow or cavity was separate from the garden shaft. According to appearances, the team's hard efforts, which were motivated by the search for an offset chamber close to the garden shaft, appeared to have been unsuccessful, have resulted in fruit. Unfortunately, due to the limited amount of time available in the episode, It was not possible to conduct a comprehensive investigation of the newly discovered chamber. The immediate goal was to stop the flow of water to the chamber. As a result of Marty Lagina and his team's suggestion, the Fellowship of the Dig is now considering the idea that there are many offset chambers dispersed across the immense expanse of the money pit. This is because the Fellowship has been searching ceaselessly for a hidden offset chamber that conceals the elusive wealth. An intriguing turn of events occurred when the crew returned their focus to Aladdin's Cave, a vast expanse that is situated 160 feet below the surface, and contemplated the possibility that it could be a treasure chamber that was created by humans. Through the excavation of a new hole above the emptiness, a high-definition camera and a sonar scanner were utilized in order to investigate the mysteries that were contained there. Despite this, the team is still in a state of anticipation because the bottom of the cavern is covered with mud and silt and slopes sharply downward. A geologist by the name of Terry Matheson put out the hypothesis that the cavern in question contains buried treasures. In spite of the fact that the accuracy of this concept is still under investigation, the cave is not the sediment. The acute eyes of Steve Guptill were able to identify a possible opening into the void, which was an essential component in the event that the cavern was in fact created by humans. On the other hand, the transparency of the image was obscured by uncertainty, which caused the members of the team to be hesitant about supporting Steve's notion. The conclusion that can be drawn from these undertakings is that there is an undeniable requirement for additional investigations into Aladdin's Cave, as the crew continues to be steadfast in their pursuit of the mysteries surrounding Oak Island. The Lagina brothers are definitely not giving up. The team has been unearthing artifacts that date back to the 17th and 18th centuries. Additionally, they explore the connection between the U-shaped structure and artifacts found in them, as they are suspected to be linked to a deep pit. The team receives drilling data and judges the possibility of locating a tunnel on the island. The construction of a tunnel comes after the discovery of strange Roman numerals in a U-shaped AP structure on Oak Island. The team rediscovers the tunnel this time, positioned 30 feet east of the garden shaft, and uncovers more evidence of precious metals in a wood sample. Their objective is to validate the tunnel's existence beneath the garden shaft and explore other potential targets through the creation of lateral tunnels. While they wait for permission from the provincial government, the team hopes that Duma Contracting Limited will extend the garden shaft to 98 feet, allowing them to break into the tunnel below. There is some sort of connection here, and whilst they are in desperate need of figuring out the connection, so are we. If they get lucky, this will tell us. Alex Lagina and other team members join the money pit drilling operation, whilst Mart and Uncle Rick remain at the lead site. The crew receives a carbon dating report on a wood sample from the boring hole that reached the tunnel on the eastern side of the garden shaft. The team engages in discussions about their progress in drilling a borehole at Oak Island's money pit. Although they have reached a depth of 78 feet, remaining about 25 feet above their target. They persist in digging, examining clues in the spoils obtained from a circular hole containing artifacts from the 17th to the mid-18th century. The team is pleased with their findings, guessing their potential military significance and its potential link to Danville's voyage in 1764. Objects were sent back to the lab for further examination. Rick, Marty, and the team reviewed the latest developments in the money pit drilling operation, holding a video conference with Duma contracting officials to discuss advancements and the code of practice for extending the structure. They await the issuance of two codes of practice, one relating to the deepening of the currently guarded shaft and the other allowing lateral work and tunneling. Delays may impact the team's progress. Simultaneously, they may continue examining a mystery rock foundation discovered last year with artifacts dating to 1775. The crew discovers a shard of pottery and a musket with Roman numerals, raising questions about their origins and connections. Non-destructive X-ray radiation is employed to examine the musket artifacts, confirming they could be from an old regiment. Roman numerals on the musket sparked interest given their previous discovery near Smith's Cove in the early 1970s. A piece of ramrod featuring Roman numerals is found, suggesting a potential link to the U-shaped construction. The team expresses unwavering confidence in uncovering more secrets and discusses the possibility of revealing a massive tunnel in Oak Island constructed with an ancient Egyptian tool known as picks. Efforts are made to film an anomaly in an underground chamber beneath the water using a high-definition camera with a 360-degree pan lens. The team aims to connect this tunnel to the original shaft. Rick, Marty, and their team persist in investigating Oak Island's mystery, planning to reach the tunnel's furthest east extension, potentially revealing a route for water with high metal concentrations to reach a potential treasure zone. There is a high-density anomaly to the west of the garden shaft. The crew drills a new borehole in the garden shaft, discovering soft material indicating proximity to a structure. Gary Drayton and Peter, in their exploration, uncover a cribbing spike and an antique iron piece near Lot 5. Pondering their significance, the team continues searching near Lot 5, uncovering a piece of pottery that dates back to 1762. And a wooden chunk is discovered with signs of precious metals, leading to theories about a different structure in the area. Time constraints due to heavy machinery digging led the team to outline the tunnel path quickly and unearth the true cause behind the money pit. The team eagerly anticipates the garden shaft extension project, requiring heavy equipment including a crane which is currently being assembled. Additionally, they are currently drilling a new borehole located a few feet east of the garden shaft. The team's objective is to discover another segment of the 7.5 feet high tunnel and pinpoint a valuable target for treasures. The team eagerly anticipates the planned discovery of a usual tunnel in their garden shaft. The Oak Island team hopes that this treasure search will provide useful information to help unravel the Oak Island mystery. The crew has uncovered a probable treasure tunnel, an old wooden beam dating back to a period before 1795, and evidence of gold and silver. The Oak Island team eagerly looks forward to exploring the mystery tunnel in their garden shaft, with Duma contracting limited representatives continuing to deepen the garden shaft to breach the tunnel. This may potentially lead to treasure and contribute to resolving the Oak Island mystery. The crew plans to carefully explore the tunnel, drilling as deep as necessary to confirm its content, expressing optimism that this endeavor will yield useful information and solutions to the numerous unresolved questions surrounding Oak Island. A significant clue has been discovered in the Oak Island's garden shaft, potentially leading to a treasure hunt. This year, the team intends to use drilling equipment to start a second borehole, D2, and investigate the tunnel system revealed in the D1 shaft. Recently, the Oak Island crew discovered a wooden structure at a depth of over 90 feet in the money pit area, potentially leading to the treasure's whereabouts. The team attempts to find the legendary wealth by following the trail of artifacts from the marsh to the original treasure shaft on the adjoining lot. The crew also discovered a strange iron band that previously belonged to the wheel of an antique cart or wagon dating back before the discovery of the money pit. The crew is actively engaged in exploring Oak Island, aiming to demonstrate the existence of a passage between the marsh and the original treasure shaft. They mark the potential targets with flags on any biological material that seems noteworthy. The team discusses the discovery of a metal fragment in borehole D2 in the money pit section, conducting the X-ray fluorescence scans to determine its composition. The metal contains a trace amount of precious minerals and even gold. Excitement builds as the team uncovers new evidence in the southeast section of the swamp. They believe they found additional traces of the ancient stone ship, estimated to have been built around 1700. The team is particularly thrilled about the potential to gather more information on the mysterious 200-ton ship discovered through seismic scanning. In 2019, what clearly was a ship was seen, and then all of a sudden, the realization that there could be two ships sparked excitement among the crew. They hope these fresh findings will support Fred Nolan's theory about the presence of a large treasure ship buried on Oak Island. Craig shares new information on the rumored wealth hidden on Oak Island. He notably mentions a piece of wood from the money pit, dating back to the 15th century, supporting the theory that work on Oak Island occurred relatively early and the original money pit was lost for many years. Craig also discusses a piece of gold-plated metal that was sent for testing. It received a positive response, indicating its historical alignment with the wood samples. These discoveries align with Craig's belief that man-made work was carried out on Oak Island and The original money pit location may have been lost due to cave-ins caused by flood. Tunnel carbon dating matching the wood in boreholes. D2 and CD 2.5 are seen as crucial steps toward rediscovering the original treasure. Despite the team facing numerous challenges in their ongoing treasure hunt, including searching for skilled conspirators who may have hidden something valuable. A significant turn occurs when the Department of Community Culture and Heritage requests an immediate halt of their operations while the treasure appears within reach. Rick and his team anticipate a lot of hurdles in uncovering these treasures, setting the stage for future explorations. When Craig and Marty met with chemist Dr. Krista at St. Mary's University in Halifax, Nova Scotia, for a more extensive scientific study of the metal object that was discovered in borehole D2, Dr. Krista utilized a scanning electron microscope to determine if the metal contained gold. The potential discovery of gold is noteworthy, as it could indicate that the treasure hunters were not responsible for bringing the gold onto the island. Subsequent discoveries regarding gold in the money pit are revealed by Dr. Krista and Dr. Yang, confirmed through their analysis that the Oak Island treasure is a mix of gold, copper, and silver, with 65% gold and 26% copper. One thing is certain, Oak Island is full of mysteries and secrets, and the hope of discovery is what keeps these men going. Groundbreaking discovery, etching their names into the history books. But what treasures have been discovered on Oak Island? Treasures discovered on Oak Island. On Oak Island, some notable treasures have been found, and it is these that fuel the hopes of the crew that indeed there is a larger treasure trove waiting to be discovered. Treasure hunters have been intrigued by the legend of Oak Island for more than 200 years. Some believe one of the greatest treasures of all time is hidden on this mysterious island off the coast of Nova Scotia, with theories ranging from Knights Templar gold to Captain Kidd pirate booty. Rick and Marty Lagina have spent countless hours digging over the years and have discovered some top pocket finds. The money pit, the discovery that started it all. In 1795, 16-year-old Daniel McGuinness went on a fishing expedition to Oak Island. Upon landing, he came across an oak tree with unnatural markings. A depression was also spotted beneath the tree. Along with two friends, he began digging, finding patched logs at regular intervals. They would return years later with a larger group, and subsequent excavations revealed a structured pit, somewhere to hide precious jewels, perhaps. A lot of subsequent discoveries have been found in the money pit. It marked the beginning of an ongoing 200-year treasure hunt on the island. Jeweled brooch. Now jumping 200 years at Lot 21 on the western side of Oak Island, the Laginas found a jeweled brooch. This was near where Daniel McGuinness had lived. Was it a treasure he had discovered? The Lagina brothers are not ones to rest. They keep on forging ahead in their search for treasures on Oak Island, and their perseverance seems to be paying off. Granite stone. Found 90 feet down the money pit was a granite stone, one carved with peculiar symbols. No one has accurately deciphered the code, though one attempt gives the translation, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. This is why the money pit is the activity hub. Coded messages that need to be deciphered are written on stones, and perhaps the first person to ever decode them correctly would be led to a large treasure trove. Coconut fibers. During the early excavations of the money pit, searchers found large amounts of coconut fiber at a depth of 60 feet, but the nearest coconut trees were 1,500 miles away. A puzzling find, some believe the fibers could have been used to create a rope to lower fortunes. Oak Island continues to create puzzling questions in the minds of treasure hunters. Whilst there is a theory about how these coconut fibers came to be there is no definite correct answer yet. Perhaps one day, we will get the answers to these unanswered questions about Oak Island. Swages. The Laginas found 2 iron objects in Lot 21 on the western end of the island. These were later specified as swages, a type of blacksmith tool and dated as far back as the 14th century. The team saw the equipment as evidence of intense mining operations on the island. Oak Island is ancient, that much is sure. But how ancient? There have been discoveries dating back to the 17th and 18th centuries on the island, yet these discoveries are not even amongst the most ancient things discovered on the island. Nolan's Cross. In 1981, Fred Nolan, an Oak Island resident and treasure hunter, discovered 5 large boulders that formed a huge symmetrical cross. Another boulder was found at the center of the cross, with a human face and sword image, traits synonymous with Templar tombs. Now known as Nolan's Cross, these boulders might be evidence that an Atlantic fleet of Templars went to Oak Island and possibly buried some treasure. Numerous clues could lead to treasures on the island, but it remains to be seen whether these treasures really exist, or perhaps they are just a pipe dream. Oak Island is not the only island to be littered with treasure in the world. Other islands around the world hold treasures worth up to $1 billion and others do not. Let's check out these islands, starting with the Costa Rican treasures. The Cocos Island and Costa Rica treasures. Located 340 miles southwest of Costa Rica, the UNESCO World Heritage Site has been part of Costa Rica since 1832 and is filled with dense tropical rainforest. Author Michael Crichton was so enamored by the island that he modeled his famed Jurassic Park Isla Nublar after it, and Robert Louis Stevenson's classic novel Treasure Island catapulted Cocos Island to fame. The Lima treasure. The mystery that has confounded explorers for centuries is the estimated $1 billion worth of treasures hidden throughout the island. It all began in 1820 when Peru started a war against the Spanish Empire colonizing the Americas. The Argentine general José de San Martín planned to invade Lima, and the Spanish viceroy decided it would be best to remove all of the area's riches out of the war zone for safekeeping and return when safe. The Spaniards commissioned respected British captain William Thompson and his vessel, Mary Dear, to safeguard what is known today as the Treasure of Lima, a haul filled with gold coins, silver, diamonds, and a solid gold life-sized Virgin Mary statue. Captain Thompson and his greedy men ultimately killed all the Spanish soldiers and priests on board and headed toward Cocos Island, where they buried the massive bounty. A Spanish warship hunted them down, and the crew was convicted, except for Captain Thompson and his first mate, who both agreed to cooperate by locating and retrieving the treasure loot. But they both escaped once they landed on the island and were never recaptured. Hundreds of explorers have since tried to locate the treasure but have failed. Early expeditions were mounted by a man named John Keating in 1844, who was supposed to have befriended Thompson. On one trip, Keating was said to have retrieved gold and jewels from the treasure location after receiving a map from Thompson. Upon his deathbed, it is rumored that he shared the following inventory that was documented of the treasure. Some of the treasure rumored to be left on the island includes one chest containing altar trimmings of gold cloth with canopies, monstrances, and chalices all coated with gemstones of up to 1,044 pieces. One chest with 2 gold relic containers weighing 120 pounds with 624 topaz, carnelians, emeralds, and 12 diamonds. One chest contains 3 relic containers of cast metal weighing 160 pounds with 860 rubies, 19 diamonds, and other gemstones. One chest containing 4,000 doubloons of Spanish marked 8, 124 swords, 5,000 crowns of Mexican gold, 64 daggers, 120 shoulder belts, and 28 round shields. One chest contains 8 caskets of cedar wood and silver, with 3,040 cut stones, rings, offering plates, and 4,065 uncut stones. 7 chests with 22 candelabra in gold and silver, weighing 250 pounds and 164 rubies. One 7-foot solid gold statue of the Virgin Mary with baby Jesus, weighing 780 pounds, rolled on her gold chasuble adorned with 1,084 jewels, including 4-inch emeralds, 6-inch topazes, and 7 crosses made of diamonds. When German adventurer August Gissler became the official governor of Cocos Island in 1897, he was not interested in the small group of tobacco growers living there, most of whom he had brought over from his home country. He was obsessed with locating the solid gold Madonna and also the treasure of pirate Benito Bonito, and over the years had dug out an extensive system of underground tunnels in his quest. He ultimately left the island in 1908 after assembling clues as to where the treasure was located, but only walked away with a few random coins. The Lima treasure is not the only treasure that is said to be hidden on the island of Cocos. Other treasures attract people to the island, such as this next one, the Devonshire treasure. Pirates hiding treasures in Cocos Island started a long time before the famous Treasure of Lima happened. In 1818, British naval officer Captain Bennet Graham commanded the HMS Devonshire for a coastal survey in the South Pacific. He ended up changing careers to be a pirate after hoarding over 350 tons of gold from Spanish galleons he raided during his duty. The captain and most of his crew were ultimately arrested and executed for their actions. One of the ship's surviving crew members, Mary Welsh, who was sent to a penal colony but was later released, said she saw Captain Graham and his men bury the treasure on Cocos Island. With location bearings and a memory of the exact location, Welsh led an expedition to Cocos Island. But after many storms, the landmarks she remembered were long gone. This is not the only pirate treasure to be kept on the island. It would seem that this route was played by pirates a lot, and they saw it as a desirable spot to hide their treasure. Pirate Benito Bonito's treasure. With a career of pirating over 350 tons of gold and burning Spanish galleons in 1818, Benito Bonito is rumored to have buried his treasures in a deep tunnel in the Wafer Bay area on Cocos Island. His biggest mistake was when he allowed 2 Englishmen to join his team of pirates. Several years later, the 2 men were captured and sent to prison, and in exchange for freedom, they promised that they would offer up the West Indian hideout of Benito Bonito, which resulted in the end of Bonito's pirate life. Explorers have conducted over 500 expeditions on the island, but with no success before the government finally banned entry. In 2012, British and Canadian media extensively reported that adventurer and engineer Sean Whitehead would be carrying out a major archaeological survey of the island using ground-penetrating radar and a snake camera. That expedition fell apart and never happened. The treasures on Cocos Island may never be found again, as it is now an official UNESCO site, which means it is out of bounds to treasure hunters. Despite it being out of bounds, hunters will hunt for clues on how to find the treasures hidden on islands like Ailsa Craig, even if it involves reading books that talk about treasure for clues. Ailsa Craig, Anno in the 17th century in Scotland. Ailsa Craig is an iconic island located in the outer Firth of Clyde in Scotland, not far from Glasgow. Traditionally, landing on the island has not always been an easy matter. It is quite exposed, but once on the island, its striking beauty is evident. A rumor of a hidden treasure on Ailsa Craig has been alive for centuries. This island rises abruptly from the sea to an elevation of 1,110 feet or almost 320 meters, a symmetrical cone of rock thrusting from the sea with 14 kilometers of the Ayrshire coastline. A treasure hidden in this knoll would be very difficult to retrieve, as many parts of the hill are inaccessible, thus making it a fantastic hiding place. So far, nobody has been able to unearth the treasure, and therefore its existence remains a mystery. The owner does not need to be concerned about this, as over the years, the value of the island has risen so high that the value of the treasure would only be fractional in comparison. Today, a beautiful lighthouse and some buildings exist on the island. The lighthouse was built and supervised by Thomas and David Stevenson engineers. Thomas Stevenson was the father of Robert Louis Stevenson, the author of the world-famous novel Treasure Island, the most important book in the legends of pirates and buried treasure. Another link to the famous treasure, perhaps? Perhaps they are the biggest clues to finding the treasures on the island. Treasure hunters will hope that they have a bit more luck with treasure islands than their predecessors before them, as a crew unsuccessful tried to get treasure at Tupai Island. Tupai, Anno 1822 in French Polynesia. According to legend, in 1822, the crew of the Chilean warship Araucano mutinied. Not satisfied with just taking over the vessel, the mutineers furrowed the seas of the Peruvian coast, plundering notably the treasures of the Peruvian churches. The crew then set sail for the South Sea, changing the name of the ship en route. The ship arrived at Hua Hin, where the pirates, often drunk, bragged about having a fabulous stolen treasure on board. The captain stopped at an uninhabited island called Tupai, north of Bora Bora, where, as legend would have it, he buried the treasure. He planned to sail to Tahiti to get rid of the ship that had become a considerable encumbrance. With his hands thus freed, the captain wanted to return to Tupai and recover his gold. He tried to seize another ship but failed. The surviving mutineers managed to flee to Lagina, where they succeeded in convincing the missionaries that they were honest. They remained on the island through the years, by drifting to the four winds without ever being able to return to Tupai to recover the fruits of their rapine. In 1932, the value of the treasure was estimated at £20 billion. Around the end of the 19th century, an adventurer from Nova Scotia, Canada, named Blackett, finally found the treasure. To assure that there would be no witness to his find, he killed all 12 Polynesian employees on his coconut farm, the graves of whom were discovered later. Consequently, the Queen of Bora Bora forced him to disappear on a fragile boat, never to be seen again, without being able to recover his treasure. One of the later proprietors, Robert Cunningham, returned to his native land, Australia, after 24 years spent on the atoll. He swore never to have seen the slightest trace of precious metal on the island. In 1998, the Polynesian government became the owner of the atoll. Perhaps one day, this treasure with so much blood in its history will be discovered by a treasure hunter, and hopefully it doesn't involve any bloodshed this time. This treasure island, like the next one, will continue to attract hunters who hope that one day they will be lucky enough to lay their hands on its treasure. Isla Robinson Crusoe, Anno 1715 in Chile. This archipelago is named after Robinson Crusoe, also known as Juan Fernandez Island, but perhaps it should have been called Treasure Island. It was discovered by chance on November 22, 1574 by the Spanish sailor Juan Fernandez, as he deviated from his planned course. In the 17th and 18th centuries, the island was used as a hideout for pirates. It was also the site of Alexander Selkirk, who was marooned on the island and lived alone for 4 years before being rescued. For centuries, treasure hunters have scoured the island in search of booty which was reportedly buried there in 1715 by Spanish sailor Juan Esteban Ubilla y Echeverria. International attention came in 2005 after Wagner Technologies, a funding company, found the largest recorded treasure trove. 600 barrels of gold coins and jewels worth about $10 billion seized from the Incas by Spanish conquistadors. This announcement set off ownership claims. When Chilean authorities claimed the treasure as government property, a standoff developed. Wagner Technologies said it would only disclose the treasure's precise coordinates once the government renounced its claim, and that it would donate 60% of it to Chilean charities. The government did not back down, and the treasure remains in dispute and unexcavated. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another of our interesting videos.